Sri Lanka's elections are expected to strengthen President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's grip on power, and they are extremely crucial for India. India is keeping a close watch on the Sri Lankan polls. Now, why is the island country so significant for India? Why are the Sri Lankan polls strategically important to India? While the Rajapaksa's tilt towards China cannot be washed away, Gotabaya Rajapaksa had promised to protect India's interests from labour units. But now he is reviewing the agreement for India to develop the East Container Terminal. Last month, India finalized a $400 million currency swap with Colombo to counter the substantial Chinese outreach to Sri Lanka. For many years now, India has been pressing Sri Lanka to implement the 13th Amendment of the Sri Lankan Constitution that devolves the powers to the Tamil majority northern and eastern provinces of Sri Lanka. With the Rajapaksas returning to power, the spectre of a hardline regime waits on India's doorstep, with uncomfortably close ties with an outright authoritarian China. We here at WION World is One are keeping a close track of the Sri Lankan elections. Bear in mind, Lankans will vote in their parliamentary elections today. It's a crucial election that will define Sri Lanka's political landscape for many, many years to come. Because bear in mind, with a two-third majority, the SLPP will have the powers to change the constitution of Sri Lanka and expand the powers of the president. Now, that has raised red flags among human rights groups in the country, but the SLPP is touted to win these elections with President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa campaigning. The Rajapaksas are looking for a clean sweep of these elections, even as India is keeping a close watch on the Sri Lankan polls, because India is looking to counter Chinese outreach and Chinese dominance in the island nation. Just last month, India had extended a loan facility in the form of a currency swap worth $400 million. And that is to counter all the Chinese money that has been pumped into Sri Lanka. Bear in mind, the Rajapaksas, who lead the SLPP party, are outrightly pro-China. Meanwhile, as we speak, voting is beginning in the parliamentary polls in Sri Lanka. The SLPP, led by the Rajapaksas, is currently expected to get a clean majority, a simple majority, which is 150 of the 225 seats in the Sri Lankan parliament. Whereas the challengers to the Rajapaksas is the SJB party, led by the leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa. And Sajith Premadasa and the SJB have campaigned on the plank of poverty alleviation and have focused on the rural areas of Sri Lanka. We have journalist Falsi Azhar now joining us live from the Sri Lankan capital of Colombo for the latest on the parliamentary elections in the country. Thank you so much for being with us here on WION World is One. I want to begin by asking, as we speak, voting is beginning in the elections, and at the moment, the SLPP led by the Rajapaksas are expected to get a simple majority. If you can hear us, Azhar. Azhar, can you hear us? Right, we are getting the connection back with Falsi Azhar, the journalist who's joining us live from Colombo to get us a better perspective of the ground situation in Sri Lanka when it comes to these elections which have been postponed twice, bear in mind, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And finally, voting is beginning in these elections which are very crucial for the Rajapaksas, especially for Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. Whereas his challenger, Sajith Premadasa, will be looking to spring an upset victory against the Rajapaksas. Sajith Premadasa, leader of the opposition, who is contesting for the SJB party. Now we have journalist Falsi Azhar joining us live from Sri Lanka's capital, Colombo. Falsi, if you can hear us.
Yes.
Right. I want to begin by asking, it's a crucial elections for Sri Lanka, postponed twice. Finally, polling is beginning as we speak in Sri Lanka. Talk to us in terms of what kind of a turnout is expected in these elections.
Yes, actually, current government is expecting two-third majority, but actually, COVID-19 is one of the new and most critical challenges to the world. Still, most of the superpower countries are not being succeed in controlling the exiting abnormal situation. But when comparing with those superpower countries, even though Sri Lanka is one of the developing countries, our government has been implemented the appropriate actions to be under control the situation, and now the situation is almost under control. Even though the defense sector and government state, the situation was under control and no more chance to spread the COVID-19, and people can do their day-to-day activities as usual by following the health instructions.
Right. Falsi, I want to ask you on that note, this election is being held under strict health guidelines because of the pandemic. It has been postponed twice because of the pandemic. So what kind of a voter turnout is expected considering the circumstances?
Actually, maybe 80% voter turnover. They are accepting 80% voter turnover in this election.
Right, and at the moment, it is the SLPP led by the Rajapaksas which is expected to get a clean majority, a simple majority. But what kind of chances does the challenger, Sajith Premadasa, and the SJB have at this stage?
It is very challenging situation to the current government. They accept two-third majority, but Sajith Premadasa's parties, they're giving tough, very challenging to the government because opposition is a very strong opposition because they are a new leader from the UMP and SJB divided by from the UMP. Then SJB is one of the power opposition to the government. It is actually very challenge to the Rajapaksas government maybe in future.
Okay.
And also, yes.
All right, we will leave it at that. Falsi Azhar, journalist, joining us live from Colombo in Sri Lanka. Thank you so much for being with us here on The Broad.